Polyev, Conservatives have been enjoying an upward trend in the polls. There may be a new challenger to them in the next election in the form of a new political party. A group of Conservative leaders say they're establishing themselves as a centrist alternative to Trudeau Liberals and Polyev's Conservatives, led by New Brunswick MLA Dominic Carty. The party will focus on policies like reducing national debt, electoral reform, and tackling climate change through carbon capture and transition to renewable energy. Jason Leader is a Conservative strategist and president of Enterprise Canada and a regular guest on our program. There you are. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning.
So the interim leader of this new party will be New Brunswick, not Kelsey and not Nisha, but definitely will be MLA Dominic Carty. He now sits as an independent. What do we know about Carty and his team?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, most Canadians know absolutely nothing, Anne-Marie. I mean, I think this is a bit of a solution in search of a problem. It's politics is all about timing, and these guys have chosen probably the worst possible time to try and launch a new Conservative party. The actual Conservative Party of Canada is doing quite well. Mr. Carty is a virtual unknown. He's a former New Democrat leader in New Brunswick. He was a cabinet minister. He crossed the floor. He crossed the floor and became a cabinet minister, but was kicked out of cabinet in New Brunswick as well. So if you're looking to start a new political party, I'm not sure that this is the way to go about it. Mr. Polyev, I don't think he's quaking in his boots right now. He's doing quite well, fundraising-wise and support-wise. He's sort of on a bit of a roll. So I don't think Dominic Carty is going to be the thing that really terrifies him right now.
But are they onto something in the form of the fact that, we heard in the last election that there were a lot of Conservatives who felt like they wish their party was a little bit more to the center, that they may agree with them fiscally, but they didn't agree with them socially?
Well, that's one of the things that Mr. Polyev has really been cleaning up, right? I mean, you've seen Mr. Polyev really focus his agenda on a really tight agenda, I would say, in terms of inflationary concerns, housing concerns, some of those more meat and potatoes kind of stuff, and sort of just, I think you saw probably as well, Anne-Marie, going into that recent policy convention up in Quebec City, where he sort of said, listen, we're going to run on what I'm going to run on, and it's going to be, sort of fairly meat and potatoes concerns. And so I think that's, fair criticism in the past. The one thing that I've always been a fan of, though, is if, there was a party leadership, just a couple of years ago. So if you feel this way, if you're Mr. Carty or you're Mr. Peterson, who's running a number of Conservative Party leaderships, like, if you think your ideas are better, take them to the leadership, take them to the membership, take them to the convention, and see if you can get elected. And the problem for those guys is that Mr. Polyev got 75% of the vote or so in that particular vote. So the party's pretty united behind Mr. Polyev, and it's growing and it's bigger than it's ever been. And so, like I said, politics is about timing. If they would have taken this position a few years ago, maybe that would have been an easier position to sell to the Conservative Party membership. Right now, people are focused pretty clearly on Mr. Trudeau and trying to sort of replace a tired government.
We've seen split-offs from the Conservative Party before. There was the Canadian Alliance Party, the Reform Party. So how could another option impact Conservative chances of winning government in the next election?
If any Conservative Party, sort of catches fire, or pseudo-Conservative Party catches fire, obviously it could take some votes away. Now, I'm not concerned at all about this one as a Conservative. I think this is, poorly thought out, ill-timed. You pull up their website, it's sort of under construction. It looks like a couple of guys, starting a lemonade stand in their front lawn. That kind of preparation is really is about the level of preparation that's happened here. So it's not something that I think Mr. Polyev is too worried about right now. Obviously, any party. And the other thing that's happening here is, if the way these guys are positioning themselves, it's actually more of an affront to the Liberal Party, right? One of the things that the Liberal Party has done is it has actually abandoned the center, or that's what I hear about a lot of Liberal supporters. The party of Chrétien, the party of Martin, that party doesn't exist anymore. So it's interesting. If these guys are successful, I'm just not even sure where some of their support might come. And if it comes at the expense of the Liberal Party, then that's a big problem for Mr. Trudeau as well, given his level of popularity these days.
Let me just push back on that one more time, Jason. So if they're able to grab a bit from the Liberals and they can grab a bit from the Conservatives, don't they possibly have enough numbers to create some sort of an option in the next election?
Maybe. I mean, Anne-Marie, I look at two guys who can't really even get a website together, and it's hard to imagine them, pulling support from anybody. And here's the thing, Mr. Polyev, politics is all about timing, and it's about attacking when your opponents are weak. Mr. Polyev is doing very, very, very well right now. Mr. Trudeau is not. And so it's a time where if you're trying to steal conservative votes, it's actually a really hard time to do so, because Mr. Poilievre is doing better amongst women and amongst young people and some of the areas of Canadian society where it's quite difficult for a conservative leader to do well generally. And so it's really hard for him to be able to steal those votes at this time because the issues that Mr. Poilievre is discussing are resonating. And so again, I think they chose the wrong time. I think they probably don't have the right offering, and I think they probably don't have the right leader. So that's a pretty big 3 strikes, and it's a trifecta of sort of futility. I don't think they're going to be able to be very successful.
There's a song in there somewhere, just bad timing. That's all. Jason Leader, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.